Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to Ages Cozy Crochet Corner, where today we are doing granny vests, okay, with hoods. Okay, so this one right here I have done, and I left it open. Wanted to leave it open, but today I will be showing you how to do it with buttons. So we'll be learning how to close it with buttonholes, and all of them don't have hoods. Um, so we'll be learning how to work the hood and everything today. Um, Really pretty much nothing to say. We're going to get right to this one. I really like this. And idea, if you like it and you want to make it longer, all you have to do is add more length to your panels. Okay? So we're going to get right to this one. And if you need help making the granny squares, I have a separate video that I just uploaded for changing the colors inside the granny squares. So just in case you don't need that, you don't have to sit through it. But if you need it, you can go there and find out how I made my granny squares with the changing of the color. So, and we will be putting pockets on these ones. This pocket on this one is lower down. This is the lower pocket right here. For this one, the pocket is higher up. So if you were wearing it, here's the other pocket. Okay, right here. So the pockets will be more so right here. I like these pockets here, and I designed it for the pockets to be here. But I also wanted to show a different option for those who want a lower pocket. So instead of your pocket here, you can put your pocket here. It's just all about placement. And once you see how to put the pockets on, you just leave space for it here instead of here. Simple. So we're gonna get right to the table, and we're gonna make a granny square vest. Okay, hi crochet fam. So today we are doing the vest that you saw. So I am using granny squares that are done in 5 rounds. No spaces in between the granny squares. The only space is with the corners. So all of our corners have a chain 1 space, but there is no spaces in between anything else. So I will demonstrate a granny square for you, just in case you've never made one, so that way it doesn't stop you from following along with us. So this is our granny square, and this one is going to be a medium. And the medium is going to be done with the 4.0 today. And our block measures 5.5. Let me turn it this way so the people can see. Measures 5.5. Okay. Now, to go over sizes, if you want to do this in a small, then you can use a 3.5, and it's going to measure 5 inches. Okay. Matter of fact, let me see. And if you're going to do this in a large, let's see if I have one of each size. Yep, we're in luck. Okay, so let's start with the small. This is a small, and this is done with a 3.5 hook, and it's going to measure 5. Okay, so 5 inches for a 3.5 millimeter hook, and that's for a size small. For our size medium, that's going to be done in a 4.0, and that's going to measure a 5.5. Okay, and for our large, we do our large in a 5 millimeter hook, 5 rounds, all of these blocks, and this one should measure 6. Okay, flat, it's a 6. All right, so those are the 3 sizes that I'm going over: small, medium, and large. If you want to do an extra large, you can try going up a size hook and that should achieve you the size that you want. Any sizes in between those, I have not done them, so I will not cover them. Now, okay, so in order to make these, you're going to need 30 blocks. We're only using 30 blocks. And I've done my blocks in different ways. I've done solid blocks for some things. I've done a different color of block. This is my other color. And so depending on what you're doing, it'll be determined how, I mean, you know, how you want it is going to determine how you do your blocks. But you'll see me working with 3 different types of blocks today, all made in the exact same way as the third one. I'm just putting different blocks different places. So to start, we are going to need panels. You will hear me refer to a panel. This to me is a panel. 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks in these panels. This is a panel, and this is a panel. They just have different sizes in them. Okay, so they just have different sizes in them. So we'll need today 5 panels with 4 in them. So that's 4 granny squares and 1 panel. Okay, and we'll need 5 of these. So right now I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 of them. I'm going to show you how to put one of these panels together. So I will create the 5th one together. So you'll need 5 with 4 in them, and you'll need 2 panels with just 3 in them. Okay, so these are 2 panels, and it's 1, 2, 3 granny square. 1, 2, 3 granny squares in each panel. So you'll need 2 of these. And then we're going to be doing pockets. Okay, so I take 2 granny squares and we're going to put them together all the way around on one end to make a pocket. So I've made 1 pocket already, and I will go over the pocket. Okay, yeah. All right, so let us start with panels. So I have 4 pieces here, and I will show you how to join them and make the panels. Okay, so you want to take the same color that you have on the outskirts to do the join, and of course you're using the same needle. So we are joining by, this is the front of this granny square, front, and this is the front. We want to put the front sides facing each other. The back sides should be facing you. So we're going to go in at the corner here and at the corner here. And we're going to go in and add our yarn on. Now I'm going to go right back into the same hole and make a single crochet. So in each one of these cluster works, we have the first double crochet, and we're going to find the first double crochet of this cluster work in the background, which is here, and we're going to join them together with a single crochet. Now we're in the second one here. We're going to be on the second double crochet in the back, and we want to join those together with a single crochet. So we're on the third one here, and we want to be on the third one in the back, and we're going to join that together with a with a single crochet. And we're going to keep doing that all the way down the line. It should all match up. If we're on the second one here, we want to be on the second one in the back, and we're going to join them together with a single crochet. And we're on the third cluster in this one, we want to be on the third cluster in the back, joining them together with a single crochet. Okay. And we're just going to keep going all the way down the line, matching these together. These blocks were made the exact same way. They have the exact same number of clusters and of double crochets. Therefore, they should all match up all the way down the line. So we're going to go all the way down, matching up. Like I'm in the third one here, and I want to be on the third one in the back. And now I'm at my corner. So I want to go inside my corner and make a single crochet. So I put both of my corners together with a single crochet. Cut my yarn and pull it through. And when I open it up, that is my join right there. So now that's 2 in a panel. We've created a panel of 2. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to add on another one. And I'm going to do it in the same way. I'm going to start in the corners. And I'm going to put my yarn on and go right back into that corner and make a single crochet. And now I'm in the first one in the front, the double crochet in the front. I want to be at the first double crochet in the back and make a single crochet. Now I'm at the second double crochet in the back, front. I want to be at the second double crochet in the back, and I'm going to make a single crochet. Now I'm at the third one in the front, and I want to be at the third one in the back, and I'm going to make a single crochet. And we're going to do the same thing with this cluster. First one in the front with the first one in the back, single crochet. Second one with the second one in the back, single crochet. Third one with the third one in the back, single crochet. And again with these ones. And we're going to do that all the way down to the corner, matching up. And this is how we're making our panels. So we're going to put 4 granny squares together and make one panel, and we're going to do that 5 times. So we have 5 panels of 4, and then we're going to have 2 panels of 3. So I'm going to add my last one on. I'm going to add my last one on, and then I want to show you how we join the panels together. Like this portion of it is very repetitious because we're doing the same thing, just adding on. So I'm not going to walk through all of the panels with you. Going all the way down. And I'm on the first one here, so I want to be on the first one in the back, and the second one, and the third one. And I'm on the first one in the front, so I want to be on the first one in the back here, and the second, and the third. And the first one, second one, and third one. And last cluster, the first one, second, and third. Now we're going to go inside the corner, both corners. And there we go. So we've added 4 onto this panel. Now I want to show you how to put 2 panels together. Let's see, does it matter, this one and this one? So we have to, for our back, we have to put 3 of these panels together. First we will put this one on this way. First we're going to put this one on this way. And we're going to go all the way down this line, connecting them there. Then we're going to put it back down, and then we'll fold this one this way. And we're going to join here. And then when we fold it back down, all 3 of these, which will be considered our back portion, will be together. Okay, so let me show you. It's the same way as making the panels together, but we have a join area that is right here where we joint them together going this way. And I want to show you what you do when you get to that join area. Everything else is just as I showed you. You're matching this corner with that corner, and this cluster with this cluster, and so forth and so on. But I want to show you what to do when we get to the join area, so there's no questions asked. Okay, so remember, this is our front side, so both of our front sides must be touching. And move these out the way, and we're going to go ahead and add on in the corner. You always start from the corner. And we add our yarn on here. Alright, so we're doing the same thing we were doing when we were adding them on one by one. The first stitch here and the first stitch in the back, and we're going to keep on matching our stitches up all the way down till we get to our next corner. Nothing changes here. I'm on the second one here, this cluster, and the third one in this cluster, and back and forth, 1 to 3, then back to 1, 2, and 3. So I am right before my corner. So here's my first corner. So I'm going to go through both of the corners and join them like that. Now this is the join area which we created when we added them one by one. So when you get to this join area, when you're adding all the panels together, you're literally going to go in this corner and then skip over to the next corner. The join area, or the forbidden zone as I like to call it, is going to get nothing. You're just going to jump over it. So you go from that corner here to the corner over here. Just like that. And then you're going to continue the first stitch here and the first stitch here. And you're going to go all the way down. Just matching your stitches until you get to this corner, okay? And you're going to go in this corner, and then you're going to skip this area, joint area, and you're going to jump right over to this corner. So it's all the same. You're just going, and wherever stitch you're in the front, I'm on the second cluster, second stitch here. So I should be on the second cluster, second stitch in the back. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and finish joining that all the way down to the very end. And when we're done, we're going to be able to open it up like this, and we'll have these joined together. Now we want to join 3 of them together. So you're going to have 1 panel, 2 panel, and this is the 3rd panel, which is going to come in on this side. Okay, so you'll have 1, 2, 3, and I actually have to watch it because I have like different color pattern going on here. So this one and this color pattern will actually be over here. So you're going to join 1, 2, and 3 of these all together, and we'll come back and I'll show you how to add on the side pieces and the front pieces, which is pretty much all like this. Is just in the way that we lay them all out. Okay, so now we have our panels put together. Our 3 panels, 1, 2, 3, with 4 in each one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have our 3 by 4 piece now. I'm flattening it out. Get used to where the joints are. So the next thing we're going to do, and make sure you have it going the long way. And what we're going to do is, even though there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 blocks in this area, we're not going to work over all 4. We're going to put our side down. Now, I told you needed 2 with just 3 in it. And that's where this comes in. Now, this is going to be the side right up under your arm. I'm actually going to turn it this way so you can see it better. This is going to be the side right up under your arm. And we're going to have 1 block here untouched. We're going to work from the 2nd block down to the beginning. Okay, so this is the front of our work. We're going to turn these blocks over so the fronts of our work are together, and we're going to work here from the 2nd block, down. Oh, just lost my needle. So I'm going to add my yarn on in the corners, just like we've been doing. A few times. And then we're going to add it on like we have been doing all the way down this whole line. So the 3rd one with the 3rd here. And keep on going down till you get to the end. Okay, so I have gotten to the end of that one. So now my side piece, which would be right up under my arm, because this is where our arm space is going to go, is all put on. So now you're going to go to the opposite side, and you're going to add your other piece on here. So remember, you're not working with the top block. So you're working from the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th one, which is the last one. And it'll be just like that, okay? So go ahead and add that one on as well. And then we'll put on the front pieces. Okay, so I have both of my side pieces on. So now I want to bring in my front piece, and we only have one panel for the front. So I want to bring that in and I want to lay it down. And as you see, it's only going to be 3 panels that cover. You should have another, it's only going to be 3 granny squares that it covers, because it's only 3 here to join together. So you should have one up here, and that creates the final piece for your arm. But we need to insert our pocket, and our pocket is going to fall on the second square. So here we're only going to join the first one, then we'll stop at the corner and then join, skip the second one and then join the third one down. And that is it. So let's work that together because it's not much work. Join that on, and we're going to go through the first one here and the first one in the back, and the second one here and the second one in the back, and the third, and keep going down. Keep going down. So this one is short, so it's not much working, even though it's enough. All right, so when I get to the corner, it's the corner on that one, so I want to go through both of the corners, and then I'm going to end my yarn here, and I'm going to skip this block again because we're going to be inserting, leaving a space for our pocket to fit. And now I'm going to go to the third one, and I'm going to start in both corners, and we're going to add this one on. And I'm going to go all the way to the end of this block. Oh. And this is coming to one of the last stitches. Corner, cut my yarn, open it up, and you see we have the space here for our pocket. Okay, so now I want to go over the pockets with you. And this is the other pocket turned on the right side once we've already put it together. So as you see, we're just going to be going around this side. So we're going to take 2 pieces, and I'm going to start in my corner. Place my hook there, and we're going to take the color that we've been working with on the outside, and I'm going to join this on to the corner. Now I'm going to go back into the corner and make a single crochet. And the same way that we've been adding everything else together, we're going to do that all the way down and around. So we're in the first double crochet in this cluster. We want to be on the same one in the back, and we're going to make a single crochet. And the same thing with the second one. We're in the second here. We want to be on the second in the back, and we're going to make a single crochet. And now we're on the third and the third and single crochet. So we're going to work that all the way down to the next corner. Joining just as we have been joining. So coming up on our end, the only thing we're doing is when I go through this corner, I'm going to go through the corner, make my single crochet, chain 1, and you're going to turn your work some and go back through the same corner and make a single crochet, and then go right back to joining. So first double here with the first double in the back, and the second one with the second one in the back, and the third with the third one in the back. And we'll keep going on all the way to the end. Here, let's see. And the last one here, and the last one in the back. Now we're going to go in this corner and make our single crochet, chain 1, turn your work a little bit, and go right back in there and make another single crochet. And now we're going to go up this last side, a second one with the second one in the back, and the third one in the back, and all the way down. And we're going to go through our final corner, and we're just going to make a single crochet there, and then we're going to cut our yarn. And pull through. And now we can turn this on the right side. And we have 2 pockets. So you're going to do that 2 times. So you have 2 pockets, and put those aside so we're ready to add those in. Okay, so before we dive into putting our pockets in, I wanted to make sure we saw this. Now this is our back piece with the 3 panels of 4. On the side of that we have our panel of 3, and then our front panel. Now again, this is where our arm is going to go, and we have the same thing on the opposite side. Okay, and again, this is where our arm is going. So I want you to take, and this is the front side of our work, I want you to take and fold your front panel to right here, and your other front panel. This is your front panel, and I want you to put it on the end one and to the back piece. So both front panels are on the end one to the back piece. Okay, and then I want you to take, and we're going to just crochet this area down here and this area right here down to give us our shoulder line. Okay, so taking this area, we're gonna start in the corners here and here, and we're going to put this down just like we've done everything else. We're just working over this one block to the next corner. And this is going to give us the shoulder portion of our vest. So I'm just going to go down and add that on. Alright. 2, and I am at the last stitch before my corner and my corner. Cut it off, pull through, and this is my first part where it's going to be my armhole. And now I'm going to go over here and do the exact same thing here, starting in the corner and going from one side to the other. So we're just going corner to corner. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of this one. So now both pieces have been added down. Now we're going to turn this on the right side. Let's turn our piece totally on the right side. Okay, so now we have these pocket holes. We're going to take one of our pockets and we're going to lay this inside like this, okay? And it should be perfectly fitting in there because we made it with the same blocks that we're using. so everything should be fit just right. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go around this whole piece, and we're going to add this pocket in. Now we're going to do this starting from corner to corner and go all the way around and keep going around until we come back here. Now there are only a few points that we have to go over, because corner to corner on this piece will be here, but we also have these pieces here from the opposite. Let me do it like this. So corner to corner would be here, but we also have the pieces from the corner right below it, and we have to make sure we catch into those pieces too, to make sure this portion right here stays closed. So that's the only tricky part that we have to go over. So I'm going to start with that area on one side, and we'll work this up together. So I'm going to get my yarn, add it on, and remember we are on the correct side of our piece. Now starting in the corner here, this corner and this corner should be together, but there's a corner right below from the first and the second blocks, granny squares at the end of your piece, and you want to go through those, and we're going to start right there. So I'm going to add my yarn on and go through there and make a single crochet. Now I'm going to go in the actual corner from where I have my pocket opening at, and I'm going to go through there and in my pocket's corner. Now we're just matching this up like we normally would be, going through the first double crochet in the first cluster and in the back, and now the second, and the third, moving on to the next cluster. What we're doing in the front, we want to be doing on the pocket as well. Okay, now I'm on the first cluster in this one, and I want to be in the first in the back. And that's it all the way around. Yarn got trapped. Alright, so now we're going through the corner and the front and the corner and the pocket. So just like before, this the block right here below it, we want to go in that corner and go back in the corner in which we just came out of. Turn your work some. Now the piece right below it, we want to go in this corner, in the corner in which we belong in, and make a single crochet. And now where our pocket space is, we want to go into that corner, in the corner of the pocket. I'll make a single crochet, and now we're just going to keep going back down to the opposite end, just like we would. Wait, a second one here. Second one in the back. Third one in the back. Last cluster here, and now we want to go in the corner here and in the corner in the pocket, and now we want to go in the one below that. We want to go in that corner and back in the corner of the pocket, and now we're done. But I'm going to go back over to where we started, because we're back to where we started. I'm going to go into that corner again, and make a single crochet. I'm going to make this long enough for me to weave in, because this is on the outside of our work. And there you have our pocket. And as you see, you may say, oh, that the pocket looks small when you first see it, but that's my hand comfortably in there all the way up to my wrist. Probably could go further than that. So yeah, the pockets, and of course it's yarn, it stretches, so the pockets do turn out to be very, very nice size, no matter what piece size you're working on. So here we have added our pocket. Now we will take our yarn needle, and we will tack this right here. I'll probably do mine when I am weaving in my ends. We are putting a border along here, so you will not see as this will be longer than this, wider than this. So we'll just take an area right here and right where the join area is, and just tack it down right here so your pocket's not all loosey-goosey in there. Okay, and that is all for the pockets. Now you just have to put in your other one, and then we'll start working on our border. Okay, crochet fam, so this is our completed piece. It's not completed, we still have to put our border on it, but I wanted to show you this color red is so bright on camera. I wanted to show you how it looks. You should have an empty space here where the third block is, and where the middle blocks are, and the front, I mean the back. And this is what our side looks like, and this is where our pocket falls, and it's the same on both ends. So where we're putting a border, we're going to be working a border around the arm area on both sides. We'll be working a border at the bottom, along the bottom. So when I say bottom, well, this is where we're working our border around the bottom. And then we'll be working the border around the open side. But before we work the border on the open side, we have to first put our hood on. Okay, so we'll be putting our hood on first, and then we'll be working the border here. So we're working it around the hood as well. Now, the only thing I wanted to mention to you about this piece, now the arms are right here. These arms were, arms. Coffee. I need some coffee. These pockets are right up under your chest area. Okay, they're meant to be like that. But if you like it better, and I showed you this earlier, I meant to mention this when we were doing the pockets. I'll probably go back and bring that in earlier to mention it earlier. If you want to put your pockets here because you don't like that rested feeling of your pockets being higher up, then you can, the same way we did the pocket here and left an open space, you would just leave this completely open to be able to put your pocket in right here if you want your pocket lower, because everyone's different. And I like to give options, and I want to make sure you know that option. And of course, it's obvious you got the option to make it however you want to make it, but you can put the pocket here. My design is just meant for the pocket to be right up under, right at the top of the stomach area. So we're gonna start this one with the arms, because the arms is the simplest area to put the border on, and then we'll move to the border on the bottom, and then we'll come in and do the hood. Okay, so, and then we'll obviously work that border around too. So the one we saw earlier, I made it so it was like an open vest. It did not come in all the way to here, the midpoint where it would close with buttons. I will tell you how many rows I put on for that look, but you can always put as many rows on as you would like to make it as closed as you would like. This one here, we're going to make it with buttonholes because I want you to have that option of being able to put buttonholes in this one. So if you want to close it up with buttons, you can. So we have the two options. We have the without, and then we'll have the with the buttons. So that way you can make it again how you would like to make it. So let's get right into the armhole, and I'll show you how to put your borders and your hood on. Okay, so we're gonna start with our armhole. Like I said, we're gonna make sure we're working on the right side of our piece. All of our borders will be put on the right side of our piece. Now I'm just gonna go to the block, which will be underneath the arm, and I'm just gonna start in the center of there. So I'm adding my yarn on, and I'm going to chain up 3. Now I'm just going to be placing 1 row of double crochets all around this whole piece. So just going to go around the whole armhole with 1 double crochet in every stitch. Now when I say every stitch, and we're going to walk it all the way out together, I want to make sure you know to go into your corners. So that same corner area that we were working in before, we're going to work in now. And this corner area here, we're going to go in there. And this corner area. So we're going in all the corners and all the stitches when we work all the way around this. So one in every double crochet and one in every corner. We're going to keep going all the way around until we get back to where we began. Don't forget, hit that corner. And the corner on over here. So basically we have the 3 granny squares that we have to cover. Just going in every stitch. Turning. And coming to the next corner, make sure you go inside that corner. Inside the corner on the other side. And then inside the next corner coming up. And then back into every single double crochet. Alright, and coming back around to where we begun. So when you come back around, the same, I have one more double crochet. The chain 3 that you started with, you're going to go through the top one there and pull through and chain up 1, 2, and 3 again. Now we're going to establish our pattern for our border. Now what we're going to be doing is just basically front and back posts except for the chain 3. So I'm just going to go up 1 row more. If you decide to do any more than that, then you would just keep going back and forth. And this one, this area right here, every time you chain up 3, that's going to be standing chains and it stands as a double. So I'm going to go behind my double crochet, grab my yarn, and make another double crochet. So now I'm going to go in front of that double crochet, grab my yarn, and make another double crochet. So now I'm going behind it and make a double crochet, and I'm going in front of it to make a double crochet, and it creates a ridge pattern. One double crochet is going to stand forward and one is going to stand back. So we're just going to alternate and keep doing that all the way out to the end till we get back. One is going to go back, and one is going forward. So the next one is going to get pushed back. And this way is going to get pushed forward. And this one, you're going to go in front of it and push it back. And the next one, you're going to pull it forward. So either we're working our double crochet in the back or of our previous double crochet or forward. And this one is back, and we're alternating that. And this one is forward. And this one is back. And this one is forward. So we're going to go all the way around till we get back here, and this exact same way. As you see, it gives it a little ridge effect. One back, one forward. Okay, so my last one is a back post. So I'm going to go to the top of the chain 3 that I started with, and I'm going to go in the top of there, grab my yarn, pull through, and pull through on the other side. Now, this is all of the border that I plan on giving the around the sleeve area. Nice ridge effect. Tilted some, you can see that nice ribbed effect going on here, and that is it. If you want to go around this more like that, then all you're going to do is chain up 3, and where you placed a front post, you're going to keep it like that by going behind it, and wherever you have a back post, you're going to keep it a back post by going in front of it. And that is it. If you want to continue that out, we will be putting more of a border in other places, but just here, and I want to cut that long enough so I could weave that in later on. Here on the sleeve ends, it's a vest, so I'm gonna leave it as a vest, and we're not going to add that much to it. So now we're going to work this on the bottom. So I want to make sure we're starting on our front, and we're going to go along our bottom And we're going to do the same as we did with our arm. We're going to start in the corner here and make sure this is the front side of your work facing you. I'm going to chain one, then I'm going to go back in that same hole and make a double crochet. So now I'm just going to be going into every stitch and placing a double crochet, because our 3 steps, our border is we have to have our double crochet row, then we have to have our establishing pattern row, and the 3rd step is to maintain that pattern. And every row after that, of course, is a maintainer. So we're just putting 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around the bottom. And 1 in the corner too as well when we get there. And we're almost there, yeah. So we're going inside the corner. We shall not forget the corners. And we're going to jump over from that corner to here. And go in that corner, and we're going to keep going. So just go around the whole bottom with your double crochets, and I'll meet you at all the way back here, because we have to go all the way around. So I'll meet you here for our end, and we'll go up to the 2nd row together. So now that I've come to the end of here, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. Yarn from back here. Alright, so now our first stitch is going to be a double crochet. Our first and our last stitch will be a double crochet. Everything else is going to be front and back posts, okay? So I'm just going to go with front, and I'm going to pull this one back, and I'm going to take and I'm going to pull this one to the front, and we're going to push this one back. So the same thing we did around the arm, we're going to do here. Front and back. And we're going to push this one back. We're going to pull this one to the front. And we're going to push the next one back. And we're going to do that all the way to the end of that row. And I'll meet you at the end, and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of my 2nd row. And remember, just like in the beginning of the 2nd row, we're going to have a double crochet in our last stitch. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now the first stitch again is going to be a double crochet. So when we go in that first stitch with a double crochet. So now that we already have our pattern established, we're just going to keep following this pattern. So where there's a front post, we're going to go behind it and make a double crochet to keep it a front post. And where we have a back post, we're going to go in front of it to push it back and make our double crochet there. So this row and every other row after it is just going to be maintaining the pattern that we've already established. Back post is going to get a back post, and front post front, and we're just going to make sure we keep it. We're just going to make sure we keep the same pattern going all the way out to the end of this row. Now this is the third row. I want 5 rows in total for my liking on mine to carry out this pattern. So if you don't want to carry it out that long, that's fine, but I want my border to be 5 rows deep, and then we're going to come back in and just put a row of double crochet on the end of that. So I'm going to do 5 rows total of my front and back posts. So now I am at row 3. So after the third row, I'll have 2 rows. So altogether 3 more rows to put on. And I'll meet you back here once I have all of my 5 rows. And we'll put on a row of double crochet on the end. Really like how that ridge is going to look on the end of this. Okay, so I actually was about to start my 5th row when I took a moment to notice how thick my border was, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to stop at the 4. Like I said, sometimes I just do what feels right, regardless of what it is that I plan to do. And I'm deciding I'm just going to do 4 rows of the front and back posts. So I've total 4 rows on my border right now. So what I want to do now is place a row of just plain double crochets going from the first stitch all the way to the last stitch in this row. So we're just going to be placing double crochets all the way down this row, and that will end the bottom border, and we are all ready to start getting on our hood. So go from here all the way to the end, just placing double crochets in every stitch to end off our bottom border. And that's how it's going to look on the end. So I really like ended it like that. So when you're done, all the way to your end, make sure you cut off your piece of yarn so you can weave in that end later on. All right, so we now have our 5 rows for our bottom border done. And our next step is going to be to start our hood. Okay. Now this is the top of our our vest. So our neck is going to go here, and these are the two sides right next to it. So what we're going to be doing is going from this block at the top, from this corner, all the way up and around, and all the way back down to this block corner. And we're going to be putting this block's corner, and we're going to be putting one double crochet in each of the stitches. And when we get to areas like this, we will be putting one double crochet in each one of the corners as we cross here. So it'll be one here, one here, and one here, and one all the way along. And when we come here on this side, it'll be the same, one in this corner, one in that corner, and one in that corner. And again, we're going all the way to, these are our points. So I'm going to turn this around and insert my hook in my first corner. See if I can find my yarn. Okay, I found it. And I have my yarn. So I'm going to add on and I'm going right back in that hole to make my double crochet. Alright, now I'm going to go in the first stitch, that first double cluster right after the corner, and then the second one, and make a double. So we're going all the way around, just putting a double in every single stitch. So one double in every single stitch, nothing special. And actually, once we do this, we're just going to be going up this, turning our work back and forth, and we're going to do that for about 15 inches. So the hood, I guess you could say, is a nice relaxed piece, because like I said, it's just building double crochets back and forth. So I'm going in this corner here, turning my work. My next stitch is a corner, and the very next stitch is a corner. Turn it this way now. And we're going to keep going around the neckline. We're almost past this block. So now we're going in this corner here. We have the corner here. And this corner here. Let's turn our work around. And we're going to go right into that first cluster. We have first double crochet. And all the way down, this is our last block that we'll be working over with our double crochets. And I am coming to the end of this granny square. So I'm going right into this corner. Now I'm going to chain one and I'm going to turn my work. Now all I'm going to do is that same row of doubles that we just made. I'm going to keep going back and forth. I'm going to go into this first stitch and make a double crochet. And I'm going to double crochet all the way down this line until I get to the end. Chain one, turn my work, and I'm going to keep going back and forth on this row of double crochets that we have just established until I reach 15 inches. Okay. All right, so I'm ready to begin my third row on what will be our hood. And I just wanted to show you, we're going from here to here, and we're going to keep doing it until we measure 15 inches. Now, if you want your hood smaller than that, then all you have to do is not make as many inches as I'm telling you to do, but I'm doing 15 inches, and I've done 15 inches on my small. This is a medium, and I will do the same thing on the large. Now, if you want to adjust your hood to make your hood smaller or larger, then it's going to depend on this area right here, how far you go up and how many inches you go up. So you know, my hoods are 15 inches. So when I measure, I'm going to measure from right here where we started. And because this is a medium, I will tell you how many rows that is all together, but I want to be able to show you the 15 inches. So work this back and forth until you get to that length. Okay, everybody, so I have come back in and I have done all of my rows for my hood. Now, the sizes for the hood stand as this. For a large, you're going to have 68 rows. For a medium, which is what this is, you're going to have 26 rows. Okay, so let me make sure I said that right. For the large, you're going to have 28 rows. For the medium, you're going to have 26 rows. And for the small, you're going to have 24 rows. So there's a 2-row difference between each one. Now, you can always change that sizing if you want to, but that's my standard sizes for my hoods on this piece. I'm always doing something different, but for this piece, large, 28 rows, medium 26 rows, and that's what this is, 26 rows, and small it's going to be 24 rows. Okay, so once we have our and let me pull that out again. Once we have our hood, and this is the wrong side of my piece right here. Once we have our hood, I want the wrong side of my piece to be facing me. So the inside of your vest, the inside of your vest, and this is the inside of my vest, is facing me. You see all the join areas here. So if the inside of the vest is facing me, then I want to fold this backwards. Okay? Just believe me. Fold it backwards, okay? Because we're about to close this up, and once we close this up, we'll punch it through and it'll all be right. So inside of the vest facing you, I want you to fold the top out like this. Okay, so we're just folding it like that. And I'm going to turn this to the side because I still have my yarn attached, as you see. So I'm going to be working on this with the yarn attached. So we're just folding this in half. Now I'm still have my yarn attached. If this is easier for you, then you can detach your yarn and start this fresh. But since my yarn is attached, I'm just going to chain one. Now I'm going to take the first stitch on this side and the first stitch from where I chained one, and I'm going to go through that first double crochet both together, and I'm going to make a single crochet. So I'm going to match the second double crochet here with the second one in the back, and I'm going to make a single crochet. And I'm going to keep going like that, joining one double crochet with the one double crochet in the back and adding it together with a single crochet. So here we have a double crochet here. So I'm going to go through that one, and we have a double crochet here in the back. So I'm going to go through that one and bring them together with a single crochet. So we're going to do this all the way down till we get to the end part. And I like to start from the front and work my way back all the time. So even if you do not chain one and then start this process, if you cut your yarn and then come back in on the edging where the hood begins, start here and work your way back. Because when we get here, you see it's already, there's no ending here, it's a dead end. We're just going to go straight down and attach it, close it here, and I want my last stitch to be here. And if you're thinking, wow, this is not wide enough, don't worry, we're going to be going around the piece, and that is where we're going to be adding in a border that's going to add to the front part of our hood. So we're just going to be going in, making sure we don't miss any double crochet front and back. And add this all the way down. Now, when we get here, I'm adding this one and this one. You may not be able to see it, but there's one double crochet right here, and it doesn't have a partner. That is quite all right. So we're going to go through here and we're going to stop. So that double crochet that doesn't have a partner, we're not worried about that one. It's not that lonely. It's tucked in there. Cut so you can weave in your end later on. All right. Now, let's flip this on the right side. Okay, and let's look at our seam. I always like to show the seam. You see what I mean? That one that didn't have a partner, you can't even notice it didn't have a partner. Everything is fine, and that's how your seam should look. Alright, so we're gonna flip our entire work on its right side. Our entire piece is going on the right side. So this is our hood, entire piece on its right side from the bottom all the way up. So just like we had to do with our bottom border, and you remember we started our bottom border and our sleeves with a row of double crochets first before we started ridge stitching back and forth. So we're going to turn this around, and we need to do the same for this part. Okay, so we're going to start here at the bottom, and we're going to add our yarn on. Make our first double crochet. Now this area here does not have holes specifically made for us to go in, so we're going to have to make our own path, just placing double crochets where it makes sense, as if you did have a path along this area. So I'm putting my double crochets in there as if they did have a path, but they don't. So the only thing I want to make sure of when I'm doing this is that I go through two pieces of yarn. I don't want just one piece of yarn. I want to make sure I go in between two pieces of yarn. And space them enough apart, but not too far apart. And don't worry about being perfect, but again, enough together as if it was already spaces made there and slots made there for you to go in, but you don't want them sitting on top of each other. Now I'm past that portion, and you see, past that portion, and now I come up to my first corner from one of my squares. Now going up here, we want to go into the corners once, and now we have stitches that we're supposed to go in, so we're going to go on all the stitches we're supposed to. So all the doubles and the clusters that we have below, we want to make sure we go into each one of them. You want to go through each one. And now I get to my first corner on the opposite end. So I want to go through that corner. So that is my first one, corner to corner in every stitch. So now I'll come to this area where we have our join area. Now I don't want too big of a gap between here and here. So that would be a wide gap if I just went here and here. So what I'm going to do is go through on my joint area. And I always call this the forbidden zone because I'm always saying don't go in it. But right here, we're going to go into that area. Okay. And then we have our corner, and we're going to go in our corner. And now we're back at the doubles from our clusters on a granny square. Let me pause. Let me show you how it looks that we went in that join. You see, we would have had a massive gap there, and we don't want that. So we want to go into that join just around here. So we're going to go all the way up. Now, when we get to the hood, just like the bottom part, we do not have stitches to go into. There's not a predestined path like this to go into, so we have to make our own path going around the hood as well. So I'm going to start that with you, and then you can take it on out, and we'll go all the way back down to the bottom. The only thing with the hood as we go along, so we get to the only thing, not with the hood, but the only thing with this piece is the decision, or do you want it to be like the brown one that we saw in the beginning, open with no buttons, or do you want yours to have buttons? Now I showed you two versions, what it looks like with the buttons and what it looks like without the buttons. So it's going to be up to you to determine which one you want. Now I want to pause right here. Now this is a join right here, and our joins sometimes could be difficult to go into. So even if you can just get through two of them, it might be a challenge because that one was a little rough to go into. Just make sure you get into it. And I almost skipped the corner. But yes, because with the thought of, do I want mine to have buttons or do I want it to stand open, we're going to be doing two different things in the upcoming rows. They both will have the same ridge like we did on the bottom, back and forth. That will not change. But if we decide buttons, then that means we need more rows in this area, the body area. We're going to need to put more rows because we're going to have to make 3 additional rows on top of what we would normally do for our button area. So you'll need to decide pretty much here. This is the row where you're deciding how you want to finish your piece. And to be honest, I like it both ways. I like it with the buttons and I like it without the buttons. So it's all about how you want to do it. Personally, I'm like, I need one of each in my wardrobe. And okay, so now we're coming up on our hood. Here's our hood, the beginning of our hood. Now, when we look at this right here is a corner. So I'm going to go into that corner. And now we have the hood. Now, there's no detailed path laid out here in the hood. So I just want to make sure I'm going through 2. And we're going to make our own path all the way around the hood area. Yeah. So make your path all the way around your hood in the same way. You're just finding a spot and we're going to go in it. Try to always go through the 2 pieces of yarn. and try to keep them at a decent distance away from each other. So I keep turning. So now I'm going to go all the way down, all the way around my hood, and all the way back down here to my other bottom. And we're going to, I'll come back in with you right here. We're not cutting off our yarn. We're going to keep on moving with our hood back on up again and around our hood again. Okay, so I have just gotten all the way back to the opposite end at the bottom. So we have our first row of double crochets around our bottom, all the way up our neckline and back down again. So now we're going to chain one, and we're going to turn our work, and we're going to work right back up on that, on where we stopped. We're going to go right back up there along that side. So our first one in every row is going to be a double crochet. So we're going to go right back into that same hole, and we're going to make, oh wait, we're going to make a double crochet in that first stitch. So the first stitch after that turnaround is a double crochet in that hole. Okay, so in our next stitch, we're going to start doing the front and back post just like we did on the bottom. So I'm going to go behind this one, grab my yarn, pull through, and make a double crochet. And now I'm going to reach around and go in front of this one, grab my yarn, pull it through, and make a double crochet. And I'm just going to go back and forth just like we did at the border at the bottom, just like we did around the arms. So we're not doing anything different. I'm not teaching a different technique here. We're doing the same thing. So like I said, this row is going to be your deciding row if you want to open or close it. So if you choose to close this with buttons and you want to end off your piece and buttons, we are going to do what I'm doing right now, back and forth for 6 rows. The only difference is when we get to the top around the hood, we will be doing something else. All right, and I'm going to show you what that something else is after a while. Now, let's see, we will be doing something else. So 3 rows are going to be just like this, all the way around the hood. From here onto the other side, we're going to come back and forth around till we've done 3 solid rows like this, and this being our second row. And then on the 4th row, we're going to come in and do something different just around the hood, but it's going to be the same. It's just going to be a smaller stitch around the hood. If you are deciding that you want to not do the buttonholes, then what we're doing right now, the back and forth ridge stitch, you're going to do this for 5 rows or more. That 5 rows or more, and that more is going to depend on what you like personally. Okay, so 5 or more rows depending upon what you like personally. And again, I've already showed you the 2 pieces on the differences and what they look like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and do this. Now remember, because I'm putting buttons on here so I can show you how to do buttons. The row of double crochets, that was our first row. This row establishing the back and forth front post, this is our second row. So I'm gonna come back one more time for 3 rows total, and then I'm gonna show you the difference that we're gonna make if we're putting buttons on. So do your front and back posts for 3 rows total if you're following me with buttons, or if you are no buttons, then you're going to do it as many rows as you feel comfortable. I say at least do 5 rows. At least do 5 rows. All right, so I'm on my second row now. I will see you back after one more row. Now remember, around every double crochet, just so you know, there's nothing different. Around every single double crochet that we've made, all we're doing is going back and forth through them. Okay, so everybody, I have gone around this 3 times. We had our row of double crochets, the row that we established, our front and back posts, and then I've done 1 row to maintain the front and back posts. So now that I've gone around this 3 times, if you are doing no buttons, then you're just going to go around this at least 2 more times. Whatever you're going to do is going to be to your liking, and you're going to keep doing front and back posts. If you decide to put buttons on, like I'm going to show you how to do right now, we need to come to a point where on our 4th row where we need to establish markers here and here. Now if you have stitch markers, you can use that. I'm just using a different shade of yarn. Now, if you notice, this granny square right here is going to be the shoulder one. So I've gone up 1, 2, and 3 granny squares. And where my hood begins would be my shoulder one. I'm going to mark off kind of right where that begins. Okay, so we have this block here. This is the 4th block. And I kind of want to be right where the shoulder, not where the shoulder, right where the hood begins. I want to mark off that one there. And I also am going to take my other one, and I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to say this is my top one, the 4th one up at the top. And the stitch that begins the hood is like right here. So I'm going to go to this one. And I'm just going to put my hook underneath here and drag my yarn through there just to mark off this stitch right here. Now, why am I doing that? We'll still be doing front and back posts, but when I come to this stitch right here, instead of doing front and back posts with doubles, I'm going to use half doubles, which is going to make this shorter around the top. And when I come here, I will do a half double in that same stitch with the stitch marker, and then the next one is going to go back to double crochets. So from here on out, we'll be doing double crochets from here down. From here all the way around to here, we will be doing half doubles. Okay, so I've already went on my 4th row, and I've brought my 4th row all the way up to where my stitch marker, my marked off area is, and I'm going to show you how we're going to go back and forth with the half doubles. Okay, so this is where my stitch marker begins on this side. So this stitch, I will begin doing half doubles. Now I'm on my 4th row, and I'm working from this side. So the next stitch I have is where the stitch marker is. So when you get to your stitch marker, you're going to go around that one, go behind it, because we're going to keep going the same way we have been. You have a front post, you're going to keep it a front post. If you have a back post, nothing, you're going to keep it a back post, and nothing is going to change as far as that. This is the only change. Instead of making a double, we're doing a half double. So we're going to go and pull that up, and then we're going to take all of that off the hook. So my next stitch is here. So I'm going to go through on this side behind it, grab my yarn, and I'm taking everything off of my hook. Now I'm back on this side, so I want to go behind that one, grab my yarn, pull up, and take all three off of my hook. Going forward, going this way, I want to go behind, grab my yarn, pull through, and take everything off of my hook. And that is what we'll keep doing. We're going to keep working that all the way through the hood area. And again, because we have to put so much on the body area in order to put our buttons on, we don't want our hood to be too much around the border. So this just shortens the border area around the hood. So we are on the 4th row doing this. We're going to continue doing our rows like this for 3 more rows. So 4th row, 5th row, and 6th row will all be done like this. The body portion will be done in doubles, front and back posts, and the hood portion will be done in half doubles. So I am coming up on the opposite side where the other marker is. Still doing my half double crochets. See? So here's where my marker is, and that is my next stitch. So I am going to make a half double around that marker. Okay, now once I reach that marker, I've made my half double. Now I want to go back to doing double crochets around my post. So I'm going to go right back to doing double crochets. So like I said, we're going to do 3 rows of this. So this is row 4. We're going to do row 4, 5, and 6, just like this. So remember, when you do the hood, the whole hood area back to this stitch marker, and including this stitch marker, is going to get half doubles on both ends. Okay, so when you come up to it for the first time, you're going to start all the way into the hood, half doubles, and as soon as you get to the stitch after it, you're going to go right back to your double crochets. So 3 rows of that, and we will get ready to start our buttons holes after. Okay, so I have now put my 6 rows and total on. Remember, 3 rows are regular double crochets in the hood, and the other 3 are just going to be half doubles in the hood, and we still have our marking point. Now on the 7th row, we're just going to be doing double crochets, but when we get to our points, when we get to our point, we will be making the half doubles just like we have been. So when we get to this point, we will start and make our half doubles all the way around until we get to this point. We will still be doing half doubles in the hood, but this body area will be nothing but double crochets. So chain one and turn my work, and we're going right back into that first stitch with a double crochet. We're going right in the top of our second one with a double crochet, and we'll go all the way to we get to our hood area, our marked off area, with double crochets. Okay, so we're not doing front and back posts, we're just doing standing double crochets, going in right at the top, and we're going to make double crochets all the way across in every stitch. So remember your stitches, you have your front post and your back post, your front post and your back post here, and you are going into each one of those stitches. So here's my back post here, going and my front post at the top, back post, and going in and making my double crochets right on the top. So again, we're going to go all the way down till we get to our marker, and at our marker points we will go back to making our half doubles just like we have been doing for the last 3 rows, but only in that area. And that is going to be our 7th row. So I'm coming back up on my stitch marker, the first one. Still making my double crochets all the way down on top of my post. And so I have a back post here, and here on this front post is when that begins. So what I want to do is just go around it and make my half double, and then keep doing my front and my back posts. With my half doubles. So you're going to start to see this right here where the body part is sticking out more than the hood part. That's what I want. So when you start to see this curvature, don't think that you're doing something wrong. You're not. Remember, we're keeping double crochets down here, and now we're going to half doubles. Well, we've been doing 3 rows of half doubles, and now we're going to a 4th row of half doubles up here. So we will have a height difference from here to then up here, and that is fine. So again, I don't want you to think you're doing anything wrong when you see that. So we're going to keep our half doubles all the way out until we come to our other marker. Once we get past that marker, we're going to go back down with just the plain double crochets again. Okay, so this is the 7th row. as you see the bend here going on around our hood. So this is how it's supposed to go. Our 8th row, you're going to do another row of double crochets up to this point, and then you're going to go into your half doubles back to where your half doubles stop here, and we're going to pause here, and we're going to decide where our buttonholes are going to go. So this is the left side of my piece. This is the right side. I want my buttonholes to go on my right side. Now, if you want buttonholes on the left side versus the right, or if for some reason, because I ended off at the bottom here, so I ended on my left side, so I'm gonna chain 1, turn my work, and I'm gonna go right back up this side. So if for some reason this is the side you want the buttonholes on, then pause on going around, and when I come back in here, the same thing that I say to do from here to here, you'll just do on this side. Okay, so for all mine who want theirs on the right side and are working on the left side, you are just going to start doing double crochets, and it's just going to be just like the 7th row. So you're going to do double crochets on top of all of these double crochets. When you get here, you're doing half doubles, front and back posts all the way around, keeping your front and back posts. And when we get to the end of our front and back posts, that's when we'll look at where we're going to leave our spaces for our buttons holes. Okay. Okay, so I have went around on my 8th row doing another row of double crochets. So we have 2 flat rows of double crochets all the way up to here, where I came in and did my half doubles all the way around to here, and now I've stopped. Okay, and I stopped right where my last half double is. So our buttonholes are going to go on this side right here, from here to here. This is the part where you're going to stop and you're going to say, how many buttons do I want? Okay, I'm going to put 5, one about here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, whatever. So I have pre-counted all of my stitches, and I'm going to kind of make it even, the spaces in between, so I have it's spacious enough for my buttons. So I'm gonna go and down 5 rows of double crochets, and then I'm gonna make my first buttonhole, and then I'm gonna go 11 buttonhole, down 11 again, buttonhole, down 11 again, to make sure I have 5 holes. So I wanted to show you this. Now, depending on how many stitches you have between here and how many buttons you're going to put on, you're going to determine what you want. Now, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do mine for 5 buttons with the stitches that I have here, and you can use that and how to make your buttonholes so you can properly fit what you want for buttons down this end. Okay, so like I said, I've stopped in the last stitch for the hood, which is the half double. So my next stitch is going to be a double crochet here. So I'm deciding, because this is where the hood ends, I want a few stitches before I go to my first buttonhole. I don't want my button to start all the way up here, right where the hood begins. But if that's what you would like, that's what you would place there. But I'm going to give it a little bit of space. So I'm going to do, make sure I'm in the right stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stitches before I start my where I want my buttons to go. So I'm going to chain 1. Now when I chain 1, that's going to hold the place for my next stitch, which is here. I am going to skip this, yarn over, and I'm going to go into the next stitch. And that is going to be my first one. So as you see, it creates this little space. Now you may say, depending on how big your buttons is, this really should be all you need. Again, depending on your button size. If you have your buttons with you, and you're going to take your button and you're going to see if your button can go through that hole. As long as your button can go through that hole, then you're good, okay? If your button is bigger, you have larger buttons and this is too small, and remember this hole is going to stretch. So if your button is too big and you need a bigger hole, then you would just chain 1 but skip 1, 2, and you can go in the third. I'm sorry, you would chain 2 and skip this one as well and go in here. So it'd be chain 1, chain 2, and then place your double here, and that's for a larger buttonhole. I've been doing this for a while, and this pretty much, but this buttonhole is going to fit because you don't want your buttonhole too loose. Because if your buttonhole is too loose, it won't look good. After a while, it'll start sagging. Just trust me. Go with the 1. Put the size button that you want through there, and if that doesn't work, then you can just simply make your hole bigger. So I'm going to go down 11 stitches. So this is 1 for me, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So that is about the spacing that I'm putting in between my buttons, which is good for me. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip this next stitch, and I'm going to go in the one next to that. So I have my second buttonhole, and oh, I chained 1 for no reason. So I already have my 1. I'm going to go down 11 again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's 11. So I'm going to chain 1 again, skip this stitch, go into the next stitch, and I have my buttonhole. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, look at me. 13, 12. Just kept going, didn't I? Let's count that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11. Chain 1, skip 1, and into the next stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going down to our last one. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So that means my last buttonhole is going to go here. I'm going to chain 1 and go in here. So that means that is going to be my last buttonhole. And I'm just going to go all the way down to the bottom. Now, if you want your buttonhole, just say down further, then you can go all the way back and just move every 12. You see, I still like this at 5, but then I can go 5, go here, count down 12, which will move this over, move all of them over, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll bring me all the way down to right here. Okay. So I might just do that. But I'm going to show you what to do on your next to the last row. So we're going to go all the way down here. And our next row is just going to be a row of double crochets. Nothing but a bunch of good old-fashioned double crochets. I get so excited when I come almost to the end. So we're going to chain 1. And we're going to turn our work. Now we're going to go back with double crochets. All the way up. Now when we get to our marker points, when we're going back around our hood, we're still going to do our half doubles. Okay, that has not changed. We're still doing half doubles. But when we come to our space where we've chained 1, I want you to put a double crochet in there. Okay? Just like that. The chain 1 spaces that you're using for buttonholes, you're going to put a double crochet in it, and then you're going to keep going all the way down. So continue this row as we have been doing our rows. Our last row, putting doubles all the way around, going in the hole with a double, and around our hood is going to get our normal half doubles. Okay, so I have gone all the way to the other side. I did move my buttonholes down to 12 double crochets in between each of them, and then went back through those. So once we come down on this side, we're on our last row. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now what we're going to be doing for our last row, and we're going to put a half double in the first stitch, and there'll be a half double in the last stitch on the opposite side. Now we're going to make front and back posts again, but we're only going to do half doubles just like we're doing around the hood. So it's just going to be half doubles. Okay, so we're going to do half double front and back posts all the way through this whole row. So we're going to go back to our front and back post, and so we'll have 2 rows where we just have, it'll be flat double crochets, and because we're establishing this row, these 2 rows will have the ridge on it. Okay, so we're going to do that from here all the way to the other side. Front and back post, front and back post. Now when you get around the hood area, we already have established front and back posts going on. But if you begin your hood area and say you're on back post here, but the next one is a back post, well then now you're going to make that a front post. So whatever you establish here, you're going to keep all the way out there. If when by the time you get to your hood, if you're already at if you're on a back post and the next one is a front post, well that's awesome. So you're just going to keep carrying that out. But if that's not the case, then no worries, you'll just keep going back and forth, and it'll give it a different look around the hood, because then it'll be in between. I'm going to go up to that point and I'm going to show you where that comes in at, so you can see exactly what I mean. Okay, I'm coming up to my marker where my hood is already doing front and back posts already. It's actually beginning in the next stitch. Now I ended this with a back post, and my next stitch just happens to be a front post. So I'm just going to go and make a front post. If this first stitch would have been a back post too, then I would have made it a front post regardless. Okay, and that's what I wanted you to understand. Other than that, we're going to keep making our half doubles all the way to the other side, and then we're going to cut our yarn. Okay, so we are finally finished. The only thing we have to do is weave in our ends, our pockets. We're going to make sure we tack down our pockets. It's this pocket. So we're going to make sure we tack down our pockets. You could just put one tack in right there at the top, and that will hold that in place. Now our holes, our buttonholes are here. So that means our buttons are going to go here. Now your buttons are going to go on, this is the first row of double crochets that we did. It's going to go on the second row of double crochets that we did. Okay, now here's the beauty part of this, showing you where to put the buttons. It's like 2 in the morning here. I'm about to finish this thing tonight, and I have absolutely no buttons. None. I've been working on my crochet bags, and I've used all my buttons that would fit this this piece, and I actually need more buttons to go with my bags. So I'll be making a Walmart run in a few hours when it gets light out, to get some buttons so I can finish this off. But no worries. So I can still show you. I'm going to use these little pieces here, how to place the buttons. So again, it's going to go on not the first one, but the second one right here. row of double crochets that we did, and how I figure out where my buttons would be perfect. Just close your piece. Here's the buttonholes here. We're going to close our piece here, okay, so that second row is right up under there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my yarn. Now if you're using anything else, you're just going to put it in there. And I'm going to pull that through. So that means I know I could put my button right there. So now let's go to this one, and you see it is on the second row of double crochets from here. So now I'm going to just go down, and I want to actually put this back through here. Now my next one would be here. And I'm going to go down there and hook just one double crochet right there. And I'm going to pull this through as well. And I'm going to tie it. Okay. So I've done the first two. And I'm going to go down the line like this. Actually, let me get some more yarn. And I'm going to keep doing it. So I find it very funny that I do not have any buttons. But depending on what kind of buttons you get, you're just going to sew that on with some yarn. Not yarn, thread and needle. Okay. Thread and needle. Regular needle, regular spool of thread. And you're just going to add your buttons on however the style of them, you know, calls for you to do that. But you know, you will see my piece with the buttons on it. But this, regardless if I had my buttons or not, I would be doing this to set my holes. Well, not my holes. I would be doing this to set the spots for my yarn. For my buttons to go in. So now wherever I have these things, and I'm making sure I just grab one double crochet underneath. Now every place that I have one is directly below, and this is where I'm going to place my buttons. So regardless of if I had my buttons or not, I still would have done this just to make sure that everything is even apart. You can also count your stitches, but I want to make sure it's actually going to fit flush. Okay. So that is my buttons, holes, and this is where you're going to put your buttons. I'm going to get my buttons, and hopefully I can find nice ones from Walmart, because it's going to take me forever ordering them. So I'm going to order some, but I want to find some for this. And I'm going to put my buttons on, and whatever kind of buttons you get, put them on to make sure that your that everything lines up. And as you add on your button, close it to make sure that it actually fits well. Okay, so that is it. We're going to weave in our ends. We're going to sew down our pockets. And I'm going to throw the buttons on here, and then we will see this thing up live and in person and all finished. Okay, so let's get right to looking at this finished piece. Okay, everybody, so this is our finished granny vest. Okay, we'll see our hood. Let's spin her around. See our arm holes, and we see our buttons. Yay, because I went out and I got buttons, yo. Remember on this one, we still did the high pockets on it, and I absolutely love these wooden buttons. They were really cute, and I think they fit really, really well. So we have our hood area, and remember, we've done ridge stitch, which is front and back posts, back and forth. So this is going to stretch. I just don't want to stretch it too much right now. I'll just hold it up there, but I don't want to stretch it too much right now. But this is going to have more give to it, and we have our little buttons there and our buttonholes. So if your buttons, and I mentioned this, if your buttons are too small and this hole is too big, then just take your thread after you sew on your buttons and work on either side of the hole. So just sew on either side of the hole to keep it to the size that you need it to be. But this is our finished piece. I love how it turned out. I think it works very, very well. The colors are, I wasn't sure about the red, and this is cherry red. I really liked it. It's very vibrant, but yet at the same time, the warm tones that we keep inside the granny squares, I think it softens that vibrancy. So this is it. I hope you guys liked this tutorial. I hope you guys liked your hooded granny square vest. Thank you to everybody who asked me for this, because I was asked for this one. And thank you for everybody who asked me if I can show them how to do this. I enjoy doing this for you and everybody else. So as always, I want you to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when new videos are posted. And I will see you on Instagram and Facebook with inbox me, post pictures of your completed vest. And as always, love you all, and I will see you in the comment section.